How many of you were here last year? Wow.
Wow.
I guess I didn't mess up. I can't make any promises this year. Well, how's everybody's day going? Good? Yes? I apologize if in some of your photos that you took with me, I have like tomatoes as eyes. The lights and the fan and the lack of sleep has, you know, made my eyes shot, so I apologize for that. I'm not stoned. Maybe I am. Anyway. Hi. Oh, good, that guitar's going. I need to go through that again. Okay, all right. Feeling pretty good. It's 5, almost 5:30. Yeah, let's do some questions. How about you?
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
So, you know, every director has his own style, and some special directors' things, like, you know, Kubrick's symmetrical. So I want to ask you, have you got any your personal director things, or maybe you just think about it?
I don't think I have it. I mean, I certainly am not a director that has had enough experience to establish a particular style. My style is supernatural. I directed the style that the show is shot in, so that has been established by other directors in the past. That being said, I will say that there are some, there's certain little helpful suggestions that have helped me along the way. I don't want to say rules or guidelines, but because I don't think that rules really exist when you're dealing with art. And so, you know, something that comes to mind is if the subject is stationary, then move the camera. If the subjects are moving, then it's okay to leave the camera still. Little things like that. And those are little pearls of wisdom that have been given to me by people like Bob and people like Kim Manners and people like Phil Segretia and people like John Showalter and people like Charles Beeson and the list goes on and on and on. And I've tried to remember those and write those down and implement those into what I do. So really my style is the style that I've learned with, and that is the guys that do Supernatural, and I'm pretty proud of that. So, thank you.
Thank you. You're
Yeah.
an amazing director, by the way.
Thank you. Make sure you tell Bob that when he comes up here later. Make sure you tell him. Hi.
Hi, Jensen. So, earlier at another con, you and Jared said that maybe one of the most challenging parts about playing Samadin when the other one is not normal Sam or normal. So I would like to ask you, was it different for you to play evil characters together, Leviathan Sam and Leviathan B?
Evil characters together, have we done that?
Yes, Leviathan.
Wait, what?
The Leviathans when they formed Samadin.
Oh, yes. Well, that was kind of a, I mean, that was kind of fun. That was almost like, you know, sometimes you dream you're the bad guy, or, you know, you dream you're a superhero or something. So that wasn't an actual character arc. That was us playing, you know, almost like when I played Shapeshifter in season 1. So that's, it's not really Sam or Dean affected by something. That was actually somebody else posing as Sam and Dean. So that was a little easier, in my opinion. When we are actually those characters, when we are Sam and Dean, when I play Dean and Dean is affected by the mark of Cain, or Dean is the demon, as opposed to a demon pretending to be Dean. Do you understand the difference? It's more difficult to play the character that is affected as opposed to playing another character that's pretending to be Dean. So in that regard, it makes it more difficult to challenge the relationship that is so solidified in this series, that is the two brothers. When you challenge that with bringing in a different aspect of the character, it can make it more difficult, which is why we say that it's very hard, because we're so used to relying on that relationship as the foundation of the show. And when you alter that relationship or try to change that relationship, it alters the foundation, and it's difficult to do sometimes. But at the same time, I think it makes for really good story points. So it's in my mind, it's a necessary evil. No pun intended.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. When you mentioned JJ today earlier, it reminds me of Dean in his connection with kids in the show. So do you think if Dean has a parenting feelings for Claire, and if he has ever thought about having kids at all?
I think Dean's well, I'll answer the first question. Yes, I think there is a paternal instinct with Dean, and that I think stems from his brother. I think that he had to be not only a big brother to Sam, but he had to be a father figure sometimes to Sammy. And so I think that there is that paternal instinct that resides in him. I think his opinion of being a father is probably the same as his opinion of having a meaningful relationship with somebody, and that is that if he brings a woman, or if he falls in love with a woman, then he knows that he is putting that person in danger. And I think that if he was to father children, then he would be bringing people into his nightmare. And Dean does not want to do that. He wants to save as many people outside of his nightmare as possible, and protect the ones that he has now, and not bring more people in, because that would just make it even more difficult on him. So unfortunately, I don't think that fatherhood is in his future, but I do think that he would I think he'd make a good dad outside the life of Supernatural.
Hi. So this is not probably a question, it's more something that I wanted to let you know. As you probably heard already, lots of the people in the fandom once suffered from depression or anxiety or panic attacks. I'm one among them. And I want to thank you, because if I'm here today and not just in Rome, like on Earth, it's because of you and the cast and the way you have to interact with us and make us feel like we're important. And I don't know what I want to say, I just want to thank you, because it's really fundamental for me and for other people that you still get in touch with us and you still give us reasons to keep writing every day. I wanted to commit suicide, then I met Supernatural, and now I'm happy about life and about everything that comes with it. And I stopped because I'm about to cry. But
Well, listen, let me say 2 things to you. 3 things, actually. 1, thank you for sharing that, because I know that's not easy. 2, I'm very happy that you're here. And 3, the show is about 2 characters who don't give up. And if you relate to those characters in any way, shape, or form, you're on the right road.
thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I will ruin the last question.
No, hey, we're here for all different reasons, so that's a great thing.
You said earlier that you liked episode 200 very much. And in this episode, Sam was interested in what Dean liked better, bestial or Castiel. How do you prefer to call it?
Wait. I think I misunderstood part of that question. So in the 200th episode...
Yeah. When Sam and Dean came out of the school,
Yeah.
Sam was asking Dean, bestial or Castiel? So how do you prefer to call it?
Either? Neither? I don't have a preference? Nada? Yeah? Zero?
Thank you.
Yeah. No touching that one. Hi, Jensen.
Hey, Jensen. Amazing time with the guitar up there, last few panels. So
I apologize.
So I was wondering, if you could get into any other major career choice, what would you do and why?
That's kind of a difficult question because I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. And a lot of people don't know what they want to do until they're in their 20s. Or even later sometimes. So I didn't have a clear idea of where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do when I was 18 years old. And for those who have that passion and that drive and that clear understanding of where they want to be and what they want to be, more power to you. I did not. And the acting thing kind of came to me and pulled me into it, as opposed to me going and try to get a hold of it. So in that way, my future kind of directed itself. And it wasn't until a few years working in the industry that I realized that I not only liked to do it and enjoy many aspects of it, but B, that I could do it. I mean, it was years before I even thought that I had the confidence enough to do this kind of stuff. And as I was working, as I was getting jobs, and as I was on television, and as fans were coming and going, hey, I love watching your show, I'm still going, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I was into my early 20s when I figured out, I was like, okay, I can do this. So it took a while to build that confidence up. That being said, that if that had never happened, where would I be? I don't know. I would probably have something to do with water. I've always liked being on the water, being near the water, I jokingly say sometimes that I'd be a fisherman. I don't know that that's totally a joke. Maybe a sailor of some sort, I don't know. I can certainly cuss and drink like one if I need to. Yeah, there's a lot of different avenues and roads that I wonder about. I would hope that I would have found something that I was good at and that I enjoyed and that I was passionate about, and whatever industry that may lie in, I think that would have been the most important thing to me, is to at least enjoy my job, whatever it may be. And thank God that I do, and I'm continuing to, so.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Someone's relationship has been put to test more than once, and they always manage to come back from it. And I want to ask, is there anything you think that you won't be able to come back from, or would come between them? And if so, what do you imagine it will take?
I think the only thing that could ever ruin that relationship, that Sam and Dean, is if one of them gave up on the other one. But I don't ever see that happening. So I don't ever see that relationship ever being put so far beyond a reconciliation that it would break. So, but that's the only thing I could see, is that there's one literally wholeheartedly walking away from the other one, and turning their back and leaving them. Because I think they dabbled with that in the past. You know, Sam tried to move on after Dean left, and Dean was like, make me a promise, go and live your life. But we could see that Sam struggled with that because he could never really let go. And we've seen that back and forth, and I think that that's one of the things, you know, going back to what I was saying a second ago, like, they just never give up on each other. And I think that that's the nucleus of what this show is. So if that was going to ever break, it would take that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hi. First, thank you for being so amazing. And second, my question is...
You're welcome.
My question is, we all grew up with various fairy tales and children's books, and there was always a lesson to be learned. And if you had to write a children's book, what would it be about, and what would the message be?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously there's a recurring message that's been talked about quite often lately, and I think that that's a really, really good one. So I'm trying to think of something else that's similar. But what's happening here? Oh, just pictures. So we have staff crawling on the ground. A children's book. Children's book. I gotta say, I've always liked the bear children's books, like just something that has to do with bears. You know, there was the Goldilocks, right? And then you had the Berenstain Bears, and then you had Winnie the Pooh, and I don't know, I was always a bear fan. And then I was always turtle fans too. I don't know, for some reason, I'm like, oh, these slow, intelligent, these slow, intelligent beings that live forever. I love them. So it would probably have something to do with one of those two animals. The moral of the story would be don't go blank in front of an audience.